Hey guys, today we know that build guide video, and this time all-rounders, which was probably the most requested one in the comments of my last video. As always, if you guys enjoyed this kind of content, I would really appreciate if you guys like the video, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. So we start with Aegislash, and Aegislash is a character where people are still not even sure what his best build is, so I'm just going to give my opinion on what I would play on Aegislash. But if you really think you think this is the best, then just go for it. So I go Sacred Sword and White Guard. I think this is for me the best moveset. You can also go Iron Head in the build, but I would probably prefer White Guard, being able to jump in, stunning your opponents for multiple seconds. I think is the way to go with this character. For alternative moveset, I think the Claw and Iron Head is also fine. In the Claw, I would not play White Guard necessarily, but Iron Head and those are pretty fine together. For items, I think Muscle Body Barrier are go-tos. Of course, Body Barrier is like, yeah, I mean, you kind of use your Unite moves as a finisher, but I think people underestimate how much you can team fight just by using your Unite move and having a big Body Barrier shield. Also, again, 600 HP on a Squishy, very fine. Muscle Band, he auto-attacks a lot. I mean, it's just, you know, Muscle Band is Muscle Band. And for flex items, either Focus Band to just have that bit of better laning phase, Weakness Policy for more damage, and if you play the Claw, you can also go either Scope Lens or Razor Claw. And for better items, I would personally recommend Full Heal, but as always, if you're not used to playing Full Heal, you can also just go Eject Button. For Charizard, I would currently recommend a Flamethrower and Fire Blast. After they got the buffs where you can now use them while walking, I think this is the best moveset you can have. For Eternity, I would either play Flamethrower and Flare Blitz, or Fire Punch or Fire Blast. I like mixing those abilities to have like one range, one melee. I don't like both melees together, because I feel like then he's kind of locked in and always going in, and doesn't really have, like, he can't really play from range. And I'm not a big fan of it, so if you want to play like a mix between range and melee, I would recommend those two movesets. Otherwise, Flamethrower, Fire Blast is the best moveset for Charizard currently. For head items, Muscle Band, Scope Lens, I think are locked in. Those are his damage items, and he needs those to do damage. He does a lot. He has a good crit rate, and he just wants more crit rate and more crit damage very easily. And for flex item, I personally prefer Body Barrier. You can also go Focus Band, but Body Barrier is a great item on Charizard, because the way his passive works, if he's under 50% HP, right, he gets more crit rate. So if you Unite move under 50% HP, you get a big Body Barrier shield, and you still get that crit. So that Body Barrier is not going to put you above 50% HP, because you stay in theory under it, even with the shield, and you keep your entire crit rate, and you pretty much just don't die because of the Body Barrier shield. And for battle items, Full Heal is what I would recommend. Otherwise, again, if you're not used to it, Eject Button is also totally fine. X-Attack is quite greedy, but it's also decent in Charizard. Just pop it while you use Unite move, and you will just kill the entire enemy team pretty easily. But honestly, I would prefer Full Heal or Eject Button, because he does enough damage, he doesn't really need to do more damage. For Dragonite, the best moveset is Dragon Dance and Hyper Beam still. For the alternate moveset, either Dragon Dance, E-Street with Outrage, but I would not recommend, please don't play Outrage. I know it's the alternative moveset, and I just put something in there so you guys know what the other moveset would look like, or what, you know, move abilities or move combinations it would be, but please don't play Outrage. But yeah, Dragon Dance, Hyper Beam is the best, and you should probably just be playing this if you play Dragonite. For head items, Muscle Band, Body Barrier are pretty much the go-to. I wouldn't play anything else, but those two items are 100%. And for flex items, Score Shield, the classic, you can score a lot with Charizard's Unite move. I would go Score Shield personally. If you don't really feel like you're confident in scoring a lot, you can also just go Focus Band. For battle items, I would recommend Full Heal, because you just want to get your Hyper Beams out before being stunned. It's very important that you don't get stunned while the objective is going to die. And it's still all about getting those last objective stuns, so Full Heal secures that you get your Hyper Beam out. Otherwise, Goal Getter, I don't like recommending Goal Getter as an item, but it's one of those characters where Goal Getter is actually good on. If you like to play those PvE style with Score Shield, then Goal Getter is for sure something you can consider. But yeah, my recommendation is for sure Full Heal. For Garchomp, I would still recommend the Dragon abilities, and for the alternative moveset, the ground abilities. I don't think there's a big difference between them. I'm personally not a big Garchomp fan. I think you guys know that since you've never seen a Garchomp video on my channel. But yeah, Dragon abilities I would say is the best. And for the health items, Muscle Band, Focus Band, it's kind of needed. Muscle Band, he does auto-attack a lot. Focus Band to have better laning phase. For flex item, I would personally recommend Body Barrier, just because it's safer and you can actually teamfight with it quite well. If you want to have more damage, then you can go Scope Lens. Scope Lens used to be the third best item in the Dragon abilities, but those don't crit any longer. So Scope Lens still does good for his auto-attack, since he does get low for attack speed as well. And his auto-attacks can chunk for quite a lot of damage if they crit, but I would personally recommend Body Barrier. And now for battle items, we have Eject, Full Heal, X-Speed, Slow Smoke. I think all of those are fine. If you just want to counter Slow Smokes, X-Speed is fine. If you want to counter Slow Smokes and other things, Full Heal is fine. Eject Button is very good in the Dragon abilities, and I would recommend Eject Button still the most, and Slow Smoke is decent as well, but you know, then you're just kind of in your opponent's a lot and you can't really move a lot. But I think all those forbidden items are fine, and whatever you feel like you want to play, you can just go for. Next up we have Lucario, and I don't think he has the best moveset. Either Power Punch and Close Combat, or E-Speed and Bone Rush are the abilities. You can play Close Combat in E-Speed as well. You can also play Bone Rush and Power Punch, but I would say that Bone Rush is much better than Close Combat in E-Speed, and I would say, you know, Close Combat is just much better than Bone Rush and Power Punch, but those are also combinations you can be playing. I just prefer the other ones. And for hate items, we play Score Sheet, Attack Rate. Some Lucarios don't play Score Sheet anymore, but it's more like a competitive thing because, you know, there you don't really fight someone in lane much. But in solo queue, I would straight up recommend Score Sheet and Attack Rate. Score Sheet makes sure you can actually get your attack rate scores in, because attack rate has very good scalings on Lucario. Those abilities to a lot of damage when your attack rate is stacked, especially E-Speed, especially Close Combat, Power Punch, all of those have very good attack damage scalings. So you want to have those, and Score Sheet just makes sure you get those in. Otherwise, he's also a very good split pusher, so Score Sheet can also help you at split pushing. And for flex items, either you want more damage, you can go easily Weakness Policy or Muscle Band. If you want to be stronger in team fights, you can also go Body Barrier and actually just go like a bit of tankier Lucario. And otherwise, you can also consider Razor Claw if you play E-Speed. I would not recommend Razor Claw and Power Punch, but Razor Claw and E-Speed, since it has such a low cooldown, you can proc it a lot of times, is quite strong. And for better items, if you play Extreme Speed, go Full Heal, and if you play Close Combat, go Power Punch. Slow Smoke, sorry, not Power Punch. If you play Slow Smoke, go Close Combat, and if you play E-Speed, go Full Heal. If you decide to play Extreme Speed and Close Combat, you can also go, you can decide between one of those two. I think both are fine, but Close Combat is very strong because of Slow Smoke. Alright, that's what makes it so good. Now let's look at our boy Machamp, and I think Dynamic Punch and Close Combat is currently the best build on him. You can also play Cross Chop in this build, but I personally would recommend currently going Close Combat. Otherwise, Submission Cross Chop is also still a fine build to go. Not much worse, and still very reasonable. For hate items, Muscle Band, Focus Band, I would always go. He's a lane character, Focus Band helps you lane, and also helps you in late game team fights to just stay a bit longer alive. For flex item, I currently run Body Barrier. I think Body Barrier is insane still for team fights as well. Also fits his Unite move quite well. The HP is nice from it too. And if you play Cross Chop, I would recommend Scope Lens, just because like it kind of needs the crit. I don't think you have to necessarily go Scope Lens for it, but I think it does help a lot, because if Cross Chop doesn't crit, it actually doesn't do damage. That's the biggest issue of it. So you want to make sure it crits. So if you want to play, you know, Cross Chop, probably consider Scope Lens. Otherwise, for better item, I would only recommend Eject Button. He has enough unstoppable effects himself, like Dynamic Punch has unstoppable, Submission has unstoppable, Close Combat has unstoppable. He doesn't really need Full Heal or X-Speed to like counterplay Slow Slows necessarily. And you can actually Dynamic Punch and Eject Button into someone. If you play Submission, you can also Blink on someone. You can Eject Button Unite someone. So Eject Button just gives you a lot of playmake potential. And for the last all-rounder, we have Tsareena. I would recommend going Triple X and Grassy Glide, or Stomp and Grassy Glide, but I'm not personally not a big fan of Stomp. I think it falls off quite hard into late game. It has strong early game. It can maybe snowball games a bit, but yeah, I personally still prefer Triple X by a lot. For hit items, Muscle Band, Body Barrier would be my go-to. Tsareena is a pretty decently low cooldown Unite move, which means Body Barrier will be up a lot, and it also just helps Tsareena teamfight and stay alive in those teamfights for much longer. For flex items, I would go Focus Band, or I would recommend Focus Band. Tsareena is a laning character, kind of needs that for laning. Otherwise, if you want more damage, Weakness Policy and Razor Claw are totally fine items to go as well. CS has kind of low cooldown, so Razor Claw will be procced a lot, and if you just want to have straight damage output, attack rate, or I mean, Weakness Policy is also totally fine. For battle items, I would recommend Full Heal, because if Tsareena gets stunned in her triple exit, that's the way she loses. So you just want to get your triple exits out in team fights and your abilities. But if you're not confident, Full Heal, Eject Button is totally fine as well. Not a big deal, but I would recommend one of these two. Alright, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will make the other rules also soon, TM. Hopefully in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we will have a new updated build guide video to every single role. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Bye!